Altcoin season may have just started officially because a very important indicator has just signaled after 3 years. Because what is happening right now is something that's happened twice in the past, but hasn't happened in the last 3 years. And every time it has happened, it's the start of alt season. But that is not all, because there are some very big developments in the crypto space recently that I also want to share with you in today's video. This setup seems so similar to the events that took place back in 2020, right before we had the massive alt season, causing most altcoins to 22x. And for those of you who lock in right to the very end of this video, well, I'm going to give you my most important tip for making money in this coming alt season. So how close is alt season? Well, this chart tells me a story that many other charts can't, and this is looking at Ethereum to gold. And you can see some crazy patterns happening here. Long story short, where we are in this market is equivalent to back here in this yellow box of the previous bear market, right after the pandemic crash. You can see here, this is the tariff crash, right? We're at this yellow box. As a matter of fact, we've just broken out, but on our way up to the dotted line. The dotted line, like over here, is officially when alt season starts. So I'm eyeing off this chart to know when that actually kicks off. But needless to say, from where we are right now to get to the point where alt season officially starts, at least in my personal opinion, that's going to require a big move. And in this big move, as you'll see in just a second, which I'm going to break down on this chart here later in the video, okay, alts are still going to go up quite a lot. It's not going to, magically kick altcoins up 1,000,000x. When we break the dotted line over here, we will have alt season technically go into second gear to get to that point in time. And again, the good news is that the chart I'm going to show you in a second here actually signals it's already started. But how big could this alt season be? Because a theme I've been seeing a lot recently on YouTube in the comments or underneath tweets is this one just ain't gonna be big, bro. Well, let me show you why I disagree with that. We have a lot more people. As a matter of fact, around this December, we're expected to have 1.1 billion users. Now, this chart forecasted this growth way back over here in the last cycle, where we had around 400 million people. Now, this chart didn't predict the growth we'd see from ETFs, institutional demand. Okay, it never saw any of this interest. And so, when stablecoin bills pass, which I'll talk about in a second, this is going to be much more than 1 billion people. And if we look on-chain, guys, going back to the previous bull market, the highest amount of users we had in a single day was 3.6 million active users. Now, at the height of this bull run so far, obviously I think it'll go higher than this, we had 29 million users in a single day. So we possibly have between 1 to 2 billion people using crypto, and the on-chain stats go to prove it's likely possible. But then we go one step further, because it's never been easier to use crypto, right? Whether you're using a Uniswap, whether you're using a mobile device that allows you to swap cryptocurrencies, or whether it's an exchange like FEMX over here that is no ID required, so you can pretty much put in your email, create a password, and you can buy any crypto. As a matter of fact, side note, we've got a great campaign running right now where you can win in a share of 50,000 USDT by just trading on FEMX. I'll leave the links down below. It is very easy to create an account and buy your cryptocurrencies. Plus, we also have, cold storage wallets. If you've got friends, family that are like, hey, well, I'm worried about this crypto thing, I don't want to leave all my money on a centralized exchange, they can put it using Tangem here, literally on this card, and that allows them to send crypto off whenever they so wish, but it's cold storage, which means as long as you have these cards, it is completely safe in your own hands, like having a mini vault, in the palm of your hand. And so if you guys want access to FEMX or Tangem, I'll leave some links down below to get you guys some great deals. But what I'm trying to say is here, adoption, ease of use has, again, gone off the charts. Not only is it easy to buy and sell crypto, but it's also very easy to bring money into crypto now from traditional means, like the recent partnership here with Chainlink and Mastercard. Now, this ain't just a Chainlink partnership, guys. This is a partnership where essentially Mastercard can bring on their 3.5 billion card users, and allow them to instantly mint Bitcoin through to stable coins, through to any of your favorite shit coins directly on chain and swap them for anything directly. Cuts out the middleman. We've got institutional demand now via the ETFs in Bitcoin, Ethereum. You can see here a large amount of inflows happening over the last few weeks. Not to mention as well, we have a whole bunch of altcoin ETFs. It's never been easier to buy a crypto. Congress just passed a motion to advance the Clarity Act, Genius Act, and Anti-CBDC Act. The Genius Act's final vote is expected to go through tomorrow. If this is agreed upon, guys, this is going to bring a huge wave into crypto. When Jamie Dimon says JP Morgan is going to be more involved in stablecoins, this guy is like the biggest anti-crypto advocate in the world. When Walmart and Amazon are also planning to create their own stablecoins, you've got to listen. Then we add on top of all of this the big beautiful bill. I couldn't tell you in 1,000 words or less why I'm so bullish right now. This truly is remarkable stuff. And again, it reminds me very much of all of the anticipation and announcements building before the 2021 bull run, but on steroids. We can also see accumulator addresses, which are the guys who buy Bitcoin but do not sell their Bitcoin at all, beginning to buy through the roof. You can see here Bitcoin being at around $118,000. It's again going parabolic. So they just simply see the value of Bitcoin being far greater than what it's valued at today. Sell-side liquidity, which is this chart here, is also so important because it's going down right now while Bitcoin's price is skyrocketing. Another indication like accumulator addresses that people buying Bitcoin see the price of Bitcoin right now as undervalued for where it'll be in the near future. Now, I emphasize the word near future because in the case that we actually do have a blow-off top moment, this will actually begin to go up where people sell their Bitcoin back into circulation, okay? They're pulling it out of circulation, which is why it's going down. Okay, when they sell it back into the open market, this thing goes up. You can see back here in 2021, it was going up as we pumped. Okay, back in 2018, going up as we pumped. These guys will sell their Bitcoin eventually, but right now they think the value of the coin, $118,000 odd, is undervalued. So I hope you understand just the size of the cake we're dealing with here. It's another alt season, but just as big as all the rest, I think, combined. Now, before we continue, I've got some pretty important information I think you need to know about if you are interested in maximizing gains in this bull run. Guys, as you can see here, I'm up $6,000 on a trade I took on XRP less than 24 hours ago and almost $1,000 on my near protocol position. Now, I'm no trader. Like you, I like the time. I'm very busy, okay? I know nothing about trading as a matter of fact, but I've been listening to the calls made in the private community from some of our head traders like Steph over here, who actually called this XRP trade way back over here on the 8th of July. Now, I'm entered again over here. So if I had listened to his call, I'd be up, God knows, 20, 30 grand right now. And so the idea here is that I've made a community, okay, links will be down below, where you're able to copy trade our professional traders, learn how to trade yourself and make money topping up your main altcoin positions. Like I'm going to be cashing out of this when my take profit levels are hit and throwing that into coins like Plume, like Ondo, like ICP, like Nia, like Render, just so I can make even more multiples in this bull run. If you want to take advantage of this literal once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, then guys, get yourselves in the community. We'll have level 0 here, which is the trading group access for free in a few days. But of course, level 1 and level 2 has things like my own live portfolio, my exit levels, tokenomics master sheet, price prediction sheet, and a whole bunch more available as well. A big question I've had also is like, Kyron, you know, people aren't going to want to buy our altcoins when they're up from these levels 10, 20x. Like we're going to be selling, people aren't going to want to be buying. Well, here's why I disagree with you, why every other bull run and every other altcoin, even the stock market disagrees with you. If you have a look at a chart like this is Cardano. Now in the previous bull market down here, Cardano was again in a bit of a slump, right? It was around about 6 cents, and the market cap was actually $2 billion. Now, that's roughly speaking like a top 50 coin these days. So at $2 billion down here, people were buying Cardano, and it was a large cap. Now, Cardano ran up to $3. So from that level, it actually went up a 50x, and yet people were still buying, and those down here buying were not selling. So if you look at it, new money isn't thinking about lower prices. They buy based on FOMO. This is because people are reactionary based on instincts. Okay, animal spirits. John Keynes, a well-renowned economist, said this: markets are moved by animal spirits and not by reason. What he means by this is, depending on where we are in the cycle, most people feel a certain way. And towards the very top of a cycle, we call it phase 3 here, right? Or John called it phase 3. It's complete FOMO. There isn't a single thought in sight about doing anything like potentially not throwing some more money in or potentially selling. Most people seeing their portfolios increase and increase and increase, which is that little pro tip I want to give you at the end of the video, end up All right, holding. Now, I can tell you from my own experience in the last cycle, I was taking out loans, guys, loans towards the very top of the market, either legitimate institutional loans or literally asking my brother for $5,000 and begging him for a loan. Okay, I promise you I'll make it back in the next 2 weeks because it's the bull run. Trust me, it's going to happen to a lot of people. Nothing changes. This is human instincts, humans' emotions we're talking about here. It's up to you to be able to have the emotional stability to be able to actually execute on the sell levels you're setting up right now. More on this in just a second. But I want to go through now why I think we're at the very start of something big, and it all starts from this chart here. And this chart here is others' dominance to Bitcoin dominance, or essentially what percentage of Bitcoin's market cap is altcoins. Right now, you can see it's at 12%. So if Bitcoin's market cap's $1 billion, then altcoins are at 120 million market cap. So it's a percentage. And all this is, while it's very obscure and different, is a way that we can view the alt seasons like no one else really can, okay? And so I want to draw your attention out of what is happening, because what is happening right now is something that's happened twice in the past, but hasn't happened in the last 3 years. And every time it has happened, it's the start of alt season. And that is when we see altcoins here, when basically this chart breaks to the upside, breaking out of these descending wedges. You can see it happen back over here in 2015. That actually kicked off a very long and a massive sequence of this huge alt season that happened over here. Same back here in 2021, okay? We broke out of this descending wedge. Again, the blue is Bitcoin season, okay? And when it happened here again, we had a massive sequence that eventually caused this huge alt season in total. Now, again, this is happening right now. If I zoom in, you can see we have cleanly broken out of this descending wedge. If we close this week above this line and the next week candle, if at worst we come down, we use the trend line as support. So it could do this and then go up. So again, we're waiting for the absolute confirmation. Like I said, it may be premature to call it the official breakout right now, but this chart gives me a lot of confidence. This is, again, what causes alt season like the other 2 times in the last, well, call it 10 years, right? And this is what it looks like here on the others market cap chart. So this is just altcoins market cap. Many of you know from watching my channel that we can look at this, and whatever multiples this market cap does is the general multiples the top 200 coins will do. So from this exact point in time, right where we are at the moment, so we're again down here on this yellow line, the yellow box, from this exact moment in others, back over here, the average altcoin in the top 200 did actually 26, almost 27x. That could come again right now. And again, this chart here is how we're able to tell that. It's breaking out of this others to Bitcoin dominance chart. So going back to ETH and gold, we can kind of see a very similar thing. Remember, guys, all right, if we have a look at the previous cycle, this is wave 1. This first yellow wave here is what we call wave 1. Again, it's the breakout of the channel. And what we notice here is that this actually starts while we're underneath this dotted line, which is the start of alt season officially, at least according to me, right? And so you can see here, this normally does last up until the line. And what normally happens is we can expect the red area, which is that wave 2. Wave 2 is normally the corrective wave where we see a bit of a pullback. And then what happens is this occurs basically at the breakout of the alt season. So like it did here, we kind of went red. And then once we broke through this, we went into the wave 3 here once we broke through the line. So that's what I see could possibly happen here. We could see wave 3, kind of happen sometime to break us out. So we do have a little bit to go. I must admit, like, this isn't, nice, easy, clean cut, obvious. We're going to have some ups, we're going to have some downs. But what this is telling me is that we do have, I think, the start of that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible huge move for alt season. It could be too early to tell, but I have good hopes and good feelings considering the massive amounts of adoption I mentioned earlier in this video. Now, the last pro tip I alluded to earlier was selling. Now, I want to just show you guys, because I know it's very hard if it's your first bull run to really understand just how much money you can make in a short period of time, and it's going to wreck you. These emotions you're feeling now where it's like, hey, this isn't going to happen, I'm bearish, our coins won't even 2x, Kyron. These emotions, imagine that times 10, but greed, because I believe greed is much more powerful than this fear you're feeling right now. If we have a look, imagine the same example I gave you with Cardano back over here, in the fact that you were buying Cardano at 6 cents in that bear market period. You spent $10,000 buying at 6 cents and you bought 166,000 Cardano. Now, if Cardano went up to the bear market highs, which again, if you remember from over here, I think will happen in wave 1, basically, or wave 2, somewhere around there. So in the next few months, we might go back to, bear market highs. Cardano at this 10K investment would have netted you about a 60% gain, all right? You would have had $16,000. Now, fast forward a few months, okay, if we 2x from that price, so 10 cents over here, now we're at 20 cents, you'd have 33 grand. You'd literally 3x your money. But it gets crazy because what's happening now is you can see in this 2-week jump, you've now gained an extra 2x. So in 14 days, you've turned 33K into 66K. So you've 6.5x from your original investment. Then fast forward 2 weeks, you've now got $200,000. Okay, so you see how fast this can really jump. Now, it's very hard to want to sell here unless you already have sell levels. And now fast forward 12 more weeks and you've got $380,000, which is the equivalent to 500,000 AUD. You're on top of the world, and again, you end up waiting, and then you get wrecked. So I can't stress this enough. I hope this has been able to show you with how much money you can make in a very short period of time that it is not wise to look at selling when the market starts pumping. You've got to do this now when you're thinking pessimistically. This is what I preach first and foremost in the private community. This is so important. This will be why you and many people will get wrecked in a market where it seems everyone gets wealthy overnight. It happens, but no one materializes that wealth. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, drop me a like down below. Take this thing seriously, join the private community, and if you don't, just lock in. Take care.